Welcome in. This is the second cut. I'm Rick Gaiman, and this is your Friday night recap for the Sanderson Farms Championship. We'll look at what has gone on in Jackson this week and look ahead to what will happen on the weekend. And joining me to do just that, Mark Immelman is here. Mr. Mark.
What's up, boys? Hey, listen, it's Feisty Friday, and after you've introduced my boy Gregors, I want to have a little go before we dive into anything. All right.
He is feisty already. Greg Ducharme is here. Gregors,
right.
Are you feeling feisty?
I tell you what, Rick, I was feeling feisty last Friday. I'm way calmer with everything going on at the Sanderson Farms. We got 72 hole stroke play again. We got a nice calm tournament. There's no pairing. There's no decisions to second guess. And if you do, it's just on one guy. So I'm feeling very calm. I can't wait to see what Mark has to say.
I'm about to feist you up. I'm coming. I'm bringing the feist.
What's going on, Mark? What has gotten into you tonight?
Okay, here's the thing. So the other morning, I'm in the car and I'm listening to Greg and Breed. And I wish Michael would say less so Greg could say more, but that's an aside. But I'm a little feisty, so I must say that. And I got this very cool video of Rory McIlroy from Claire Rogers from Golf Magazine, right? And so I take the time to, because I looked through it, and recently, this is like big backstory. I talk with the guys on my show from AMG, Athletic Motion Golf, and they do great work. They basically get swings of everybody. They put it in gears. They get 3D data on everyone. And so I basically then take my my eye test, to use Patrick's vernacular, and I take that to them, and I'm like, this is what I see, and they tell me, right, you good, or no, you must look this way, or whatever. And I've called Rory McIlroy a lot, right? And I said to them about how his right arm works. I'm like, whenever I've watched Rory from the front, it looks like on the way down, like a lot of golfers, the right elbow gets way low in relation to the left elbow, trail and lead elbow. And I'm like, Rory almost looks like he turns on top of the thing on the way down. And I feel like then he hits this almost like downward punch through the ball. And with the leg action he has, it's down versus up. And he creates this dynamic launch condition. And that's part of the reason why he hits it so flush. And they're like, you know what? You're absolutely right, because we measured that stuff, and the way his right arm works, a lot of folks would benefit from it. So I get this video from Claire Rogers, and she's sort of looking side on at Rory, right? Off the tee. And you can see it not plain as day, but I can see the action. So I decide, because I'm feeling benevolent on, post Ryder Cup, that I was going to do a little analysis of this and put it on Instagram and on YouTube, which I duly do. And you can imagine I get the commensurate amount of hate from certain folks. And then some people are like, love you, thank you so very much. But this one dude starts calling me out, because I put a voiceover to this and I said, okay, here's a video of a generational ball striker, right? Now I'm going to step aside and say, I'm listening to Greg the other day with Burrito, and Greg's talking about how Rory hits it and blah, blah, blah. And you made some point, Greg, I can't remember, but I remember in the car, I pulled over to text you saying, yes, amen, preacher, you're doing the work. I think he's a generational ball striker. What do you say? Greg backs me up, which means I've got the strokes gain brigade on my side, okay? And so this dude on social starts telling me, generational ball striker, whatever, man. Maybe a driver, but he's like 56th in iron play. I'm like, you've clearly never been to a golf tournament ever in your life. And so I'm like, okay, well, have you ever watched him play? Well, there's nothing. Then the guy starts to critique to me. He goes, well, you didn't even talk about what happens after contact with the X-axis and the Y-axis and stuff. I'm like, I hope you're not teaching golf, because you are going to ruin plenty of folks. Anyway, so here's the thing. I want to pitch it to you guys and to our faithful fandom. Do we think Rory McIlroy is a generational ball striker? Because let me tell you something. When he hits, I need to take deep breaths. I have my hair blown back. I'm like, it makes me deep breathe at times, because just the way he hits it. In fact, I stopped eventually because I actually engaged with this dude. And I was like, okay, He never ever misses the center of the club face. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a generational ball striker. So with that said, you taking a long pause there, Rick. I know what strokes gained says, but somebody help me because I need to get over my feistiness. I've been saving this.
Well, first off, Mark, let me recommend never engaging in the comments.
Well, I normally don't, but I saw this and I'm like, this freaking dude. Because I was nice initially. I was like, big eye, maybe you should just go to a tournament and watch, because then you'll never tweet anything like this again in your life. But I didn't, so I then responded, and then it kept coming back. So
if Rory McIlroy is not a generational ball striker, there is none. Now, I did like Greg, the way. So I found the comments that Mark is talking about. So I'm looking at him right now, and the guy ends his little spiel by saying he's no Mo Norman, which I got a real good.
It was brilliant because you know what's happened now. Then other people in the thread have gone like, "Dude, you've lost. You didn't have a mind to lose, or if you did, you've lost your mind." And so now there's a big diatribe and a disagreement on my Instagram feed.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness!
It ended up being really good. So I mean, Greg, I can't imagine. You're on the side of I have the guys. We'll call him Bruce because that's his name. I assume you're not on the side of Bruce here.
No, I'm not. Certainly not. He's a generational player in every way, and most of his work comes from ball striking. Okay. All right, like that. Rory has been a good putter, but this isn't like, I don't know, Brad Faxon, who made his career on putting. You know, this Rory McIlroy makes his career with his ball striking, and iron play and driving combined is how I consider ball striking. And there are a few better of all time. Like you said, with his iron play, he never misses the center of the face. He is one of the most impressive.
Greg, sorry, I'm interrupting, but I'm still more feisty. What people don't measure is Rory until like this season. Okay. Aimed at every flag he faced, whether it was 3-iron in his hand or wedge, whether the thing was 3 from the edge or 33 from the edge. He was going after this thing. Yeah, of late, he's taken on more the Scotty thing, so he'll hit the more safe shots. So there's something that's something to bear in mind as well.
Yeah. I mean, I watch Rory when he's playing poorly, and it's mesmerizing to watch. You know, when he's playing good, there's nothing like it. This is one of the best golfers we've ever seen. I mean, from the time that I've been watching golf on, in the 2000s, you can count on one hand players who are better than Rory McIlroy. You can count on one hand ball strikers who are better than Rory McIlroy. And I'm sorry, I've heard the legends of Mo Norman, but Mo Norman doesn't have a career Grand Slam. All right, so you can go out in your game and play hit the flag stick, you know, count, like Mo Norman used to play a game where they'd count flag sticks hit instead of score. That's the legend anyway. I don't know if it's true.
I want to add to this too, because look, you get some very accurate strikers of the golf ball. Calvin Peete, Mo Norman and company. But I'm going to use this was said to me by John Tattersall, who's a very, very good golf instructor who I respect highly. And John said to me, he goes, we're in the energy transfer business with a golf swing. And that means you can talk about ground reaction force, whatever the thing is, the ground, the body, whatever. We're trying to transmit this energy to the golf club face and the ball. And here, just about, I don't know, 6 or 7 days ago, maybe 10 days ago, I was with Christo Lamprecht, who's like 6'11" and hits it a ton. I was with Aldrich Pothitter at the same place, who's the longest hitter on tour. And I watched them hit it. Then I watched Rory, because Rory takes off and just accelerates and goes further than them. And he's half these dudes' size. So if you can't tell me that this dude is the best energy transfer guy in the world, whether he hits the ball accurately or not, I'm going to argue. I'm going to stay on this hill and I'm going to fight you till I fall over dead. Sorry.
When I was working down at Medalist, and there were a lot of tour guys there, or and guys that were trying to make it on tour that were exceptionally impressive. There were a few players who just looked different.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and I'm talking about like Brooks Koepka, Ricky Fowler in 2015 timeframe, in that those couple years around 2015, where these are the best players in the world, and they look very good. There were a few guys that just kind of make you stop in your tracks. One of them was Tiger, even though he was hurt. The ball was just, it left the face in a different way. It sounded different. It was different in every way. And the other one was Rory McIlroy. And his ball just left in a totally different window than the best players in the world. It was faster. It was higher.
Uh-huh.
It was high, but it didn't look floaty.
No,
Like,
it's a torpedo through the top of its trajectory. It's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It's the highest penetrating ball flight you've ever seen. I don't understand it. And I think what you said about his arm, the combination of the downwardness of his arms and the upwardness of his legs, what that does for launch is just wild. It's wild. So yes,
Greg,
generational ball striker.
help me a second. So what I did was I decided it's Friday afternoon. I'm going to go and hit a few shots, right? Maybe burn off a little feistiness. And it just aggravated me more because I watched my balls come out there like little powder puffs. And in my head, because mine start off and then they just gradually climb and then fall out the air like a Roman candle, you know, when it's run out of juice. And Rory's climbs up to the top, then accelerates, then comes off on like this 45-degree angle. And I was like, nah, I'm going back to tennis. I'm done.
You don't want to compare your own game to Rory McIlroy's.
No, but let's stop now. That's Feisty Friday done. I've burnt off my heat.
Well, it's a perfect segue, Mark, because you two have just nerded out on golf swings in a way that I love. And I am happy to throw out this PSA. So if you are a member of the Patreon, which if you're not, you can sign up in the description. Check your inbox. Armina has been sending out notes. We are looking for your golf swings. We're looking for your swings to be able to break down to hopefully help everybody learn a thing or two about the golf swing. And I was clicking around on Wikipedia while you guys were chatting, and Tiger Woods said these two golfers were the only two golfers in history to own their own swings. He said, 1, Mo Norman, 2, Ben Hogan. That's it. The only two golfers, according to Tiger Woods, who have owned their own swing. So if you want Greg or Mark to get their eyes on your swing, maybe help you out, give you a nugget or two, respond to Armina's message and send us your videos, and we'll cover those over the course of the next couple of weeks and see what we can do.
Okay, Rick is not doing this justice, people. The Reverend Greg Ducharme and myself, we are going to not only look at your swing, we're going to send you like a 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes swing analysis as well. So we'll show you what the bugaboo is, why it is, and then what you can do perhaps to go and improve your game. And then you can tell your friends that the guys at the Second Cut are just like the trendsetters in golf podcasting. So let's get busy, shall we?
There you go. Let's get busy. Let's get busy in Jackson, Mississippi, because plenty of birdies being made. Greg, let's look at the scoring averages for the first 2 days, about 1.5 to 2 strokes under par. The cut line setting up to be 4 under. If you want to play this weekend, there are some notable names outside that cut line. We'll talk about that, but perfect scoring conditions in the South right now.
A couple of moments where there was some blustery winds, but for the most part, it's perfect. The greens are receptive, but they're not soft. You know, they're a lot firmer than what we saw at Bethpage. But you have total control over the golf ball. If you miss fairways, there's a minimal penalty, and as long as you're not behind a tree, you get it in the fairway, get it in the rough, somewhere around there, and you're going to have an opportunity to hit it close to the hole. And then these greens that Mark mentioned on Tuesday are rolling beautifully. And guys are filling it up. So there's a lot of opportunities to score. It's not overly long. You don't have a whole lot of really long clubs in there. And These kind of conditions are leaving a very interesting leaderboard with guys that we haven't seen near the top in quite some time, and also players of different styles working their way up near the top of the board. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I've got a group of guys that are trying to get right, especially heading into 2026. And we'll start with Max Homa here, Mark. He looked great yesterday. It was an opening round, 67. He was 5 under par. He was unable to replicate that in the second round. Just an even par round of 72 with 2 birdies offset by 2 bogeys. The game is looking a lot more sharp. It's just lacking a little bit of consistency at the moment.
Yeah, well, there's the challenge, really, and do forgive me. I'm assuming he played this morning because when I switched on golf this afternoon, I didn't see anything, and I figured I would have seen Max Homa. Yeah, and so to that, it was a strange sort of a day to me because as I watched Thursday, seems like the low scoring was in the morning, and I haven't looked at the breakdown this afternoon, but there were a few guys as I looked at the leaderboard who all came from the morning round. Some of them in Thursday, that is. Some people kicked it on. And to your point, Rick, it's so hard when you have a good day like he did where you were 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 under, and then you come out and you birdie early, then you make a soft bogey there you can see on the par 5. And then from there, you're almost trying to force the issue a little bit. And so as I look at a round like this, didn't look through the data. But for Max, who is not just playing, he knows he's playing better. He's told everybody that the golf swing's on track. He's professed as much on social media. So now the expectations start elevating. And a golfer's expectations sometimes is the biggest anchor you can find because it drags you down. You're expecting more, and then because golf is just sometimes golf, you don't get anything out of a round and you shoot 72 and you feel like you're being lapped. And then you come out there with a bad taste in your mouth. The good news, I feel like after a day like today, if that's as bad as what he has, then 72 means he's still okay, because if he gets busy tomorrow morning and gets a good day in, who knows what's up. But there's a lot to be built on here, and that's why I'm still pretty high on Max Homa.
Yeah, he's going to make the weekend. He's going to get 2 more rounds. He's going to get a chance to continue to find something and see how long he can carry that with him. I look at another guy whose 2025 was very much a lost year, Greg, and I'm referring to Tom Kim in this sense. We go from Max Homa, who's a 6-time PGA Tour winner. Tom Kim, he's a 3-time PGA Tour winner. A lot of swing things, a lot of bad metrics, some caddy changes, everything happening for Tom, but he's opened up with rounds of 68 and 66 this week. A lot of birdies on the card. He's going to enter the weekend inside the top 10 and probably only be 3 shots off the lead when we get there.
Really good news for Tom Kim. I mean, you look at this 2025 season for him, and there's one thing missing. I'm not talking about a win. I'm talking about a top 10. 0 top 10s for Tom Kim, who is a top 10 player in the world. When he first came out, I mean, people were anointing him a top 5 player in the game, which I think we all thought was a little extreme. Top 5's a really high bar to set. But I wouldn't expect this season with 0 top 10s from him. And I'm not sure what went on with him. He said in his interview after with, I believe it was with Todd Lewis, he was talking about something, getting healthy with his body, getting clear with his mind. And he feels like he has really clear intentions with what he wants to do now. Yeah, and I think we're seeing that so far this week. This stat profile looks like Tom Kim. He's 15th in driving accuracy. He's 5th approaching the green. He's 4th in proximity to the hole. And he's getting a couple of putts to fall. I don't think that he's been lights out on the greens yet. He doesn't have to be, but he hasn't been like Max Homa is 133rd in putting so far this week, but hitting the ball quite nicely. Tom Kim's putting much better. He's 25th in the field. So, I look at what Tom Kim is doing, and this looks like the Tom Kim that got him to top 10 in the world. Obviously, it's one round. We haven't seen him since the Pro Tour, and before that, the Wyndham, because he wasn't in the playoffs. But big opportunity for Tom Kim this week, because he came in 99th in the FedEx Cup standings. 99th. 100 guys keep their card. I know he's still exempt, but you don't want to be outside the top 100 if you're Tom Kim. So big start to the week for him.
Yeah, that's all good points there. I just want to draw attention to, for everybody who tends to want to think of these guys as like superheroes. Because you're right, Greg. At one stage, Tom Kim was the hero in the President's Cup at Quail Hollow, and he's winning every season, and everyone's like, this guy's the real deal. We all thought he was. But golf is just weird at times, man. And then he went chasing a little speed, which he gained off the tee. And look, you do that well intended because you now are Tom Kim and you've won, but now you've got to win on the big stages, which means power is not going to it's not going to do you any harm. So chases that, mixes up the golf swing some, and I feel like gets away from his DNA. And then you have a caddy split with Paul Tesori, and all of a sudden, here's a guy who just like 12 short months ago was one of the leading figures in the game. Now he's playing in the fall. And so it just speaks to the reality of golf. And it's something we all have to be cognizant of because every single one of these guys is, one bad event away from a slump or one bad shot at the wrong time away from like a depression in form. And it's harsh, man. And then once you, like a Jordan Spieth, or we've seen Ricky Fowler, or, JT to a certain extent. And yeah, definitely with Tom Kim, where a player is a tournament winner on tour, you expect him to win. He doesn't win. Then he starts asking questions of himself and the coach and the caddy and everybody else around him. And then you start trying to, make something out of nothing. Then you force stuff. And all of a sudden you lose rhythm and timing and tempo and self-confidence even more. And then the next thing you're playing here, trying to get inside the top 100. It's a slippery slope, man. And it's nice to see him coming back.
I want to add one thing, Mark, for Feisty Mark Friday. You try to add speed to gain more strokes off the tee. And that has not happened for Tom Kim. 2025, 127th in strokes gained off the tee. Maybe he got backed off of that, only averaging 287 off the tee so far this week.
Tom Kim, the guy could hit. When I called his victory at the Wyndham, man, I've never seen more accurate iron striking in my days. Oh. He shot 28 on the front, turns around there, past 10, hits it close at 11, doesn't make. And then 12, the guy's hitting 5 irons in there. He hit 3 iron to about a foot. And then the next hole, he had a wedge close. And 14, he hits like a hybrid to like 20 feet on 14. The guy was like an assassin with a long club in his hand. Then the President's Cup. Remember the final hole against Sam Burns and company?
Was that a 2-iron?
2-iron in there. My brother told me the funniest story. They're waiting there on 9T, and Tom's up, and his partner hits it in trouble. And Trevor's like, man, you got to get one in the fairway. So he does. And they're walking down the fairway, and Tom says to Trev something to the effect of, man, Cap, I kind of mishit that one a little bit. I'm going to have a long way in. And Trevor's like, you got this, big eye. And he flags his 2-iron to about 6, 7, 8 feet and won the match. I mean, he was so accurate.
Was the Wyndham victory the one where he made triple or quad on the first hole on
first
Thursday?
Hole, yeah,
quad.
First hole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They played like 27 under par after that or something like that. Absolutely nuts. Tom Kim's 10 under par. The lead at this moment is 13 under. It's very likely, in fact, it will stick there with 36 to go. Speaking of golf being weird, Greg, I'm going to start here with Eric Cole with you, because this is our rookie of the year just a couple of years ago. This is a guy who was so close to winning a bunch of PGA Tour events, never happened, but piled up a lot of great finishes, and the game has fallen a bit. He entered the week 78th in the FedEx Cup standing, so he's got a little bit of work to do to try to get himself into some of these signature events, but so far so good. 65, 67 for him out of the gates.
Similar story to Tom Kim. He does have a top 10 this year, but the last one was in May at the Byron Nelson. Okay, that was Scotty Scheffler's first win of this season. Just to give you an idea, It was a while ago. He finished tied 5th there. The MO for Eric Cole is kind of like Tom Kim, laser-like approach shots and really fiery putting. And we didn't see that for a long time this season. His iron play really left him, which was uncharacteristic of the rookie of the year that you mentioned. But now you're seeing it again. He's 4th approaching the green, 3rd in fairway proximity, and 4th in putting. I have to think that, 1, he's figured something out and gotten back to Eric Cole golf. And 2, I think this is a really good golf course for him, because there's a minimal penalty for hitting it into the rough. And that allows you, when you get a short club in your hand, even if you're playing from the rough, you have an opportunity to go and get at the flags. And that's what Eric Cole's been doing so far, and finds himself just one off the lead. That's a scary name on the leaderboard in this field.
Yeah, Greg, I've got a take here, and I don't know it for certain, so maybe you guys can call me on this one. First off, the Eric Cole I know from South Florida, lived in Orlando. If you give him Bermuda grass, he's going to handle you. And you give him good greens, he's going to handle you. That's his game, to your point. But then if you talk about players taking time off at this time of the year, if there's one dude that isn't and probably found himself in many tour events to play and is running fit, is one Eric Cole. So everyone else is probably on their rear ends kind of watching football on TV. I guarantee you Eric was playing. And so maybe coming in here a little bit more running fit, but no doubt on Bermuda surfaces, that is right up his alley. I do want to say, too, that, the guy that I know, and I've known him since college, he's super wise about the game, and he's super pragmatic as well. I mean, he battles Addison's disease, and he has to deal with diabetic issues all the time. He's actually got a monitor on him when he plays golf. And so everything about him, whether he's winning or losing or rookie of the year or playing mini tours, he's like, man, I get to play golf. And so any sort of slump, I feel like he deals with it better than most folks. And so it really is cool to see him at the top of the leaderboard. And the way he looked like he was playing this afternoon, I'm like, yeah, let's go over the weekend.
56-time winner on the minor league golf tour is Eric Cole. That is
Probably
not a typo.
Probably played last week too.
Probably did. He was peppering them in between some of his best results on the PGA Tour over the last couple of years. I've got two more for you, gentlemen, at least. Probably two more. We just saw Taylor Montgomery's round come to an end. He was one of the last guys to finish. There is still 4 guys out on the golf course at the moment, and we've got to talk about it, Greg, because this was the round of the day. The only 9 under 63 that we saw all day long from Taylor Montgomery, and he did this. So he started on number 10. He had a stretch of 9 holes where he did not make a par. So on 15, starting on 15, he goes birdie, 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 birdie. That's 7 in a row. A bogey on 4. 2 more birdies on 5 and 6. So that's actually 10 holes in a row without making a par. And just for good measure, he birdies his final hole of the day to shoot that 63.
Extremely impressive. And look, his name doesn't come up very often when we talk about best putters on the PGA Tour, but it should, because he is electric with the flat stick. It's the reason why he's out on the PGA Tour, quite frankly. This is a guy that when he first came out, I heard him do an interview, and he was talking about his ball striking. And he was like, I feel like I hit it pretty good. I look at the stats, and I lost like 4 shots ball striking. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
I can't hit it any better.
I can't hit it any better. It was kind of a wake-up call for him, but he has worked on it, specifically his iron play. But the big thing that I noticed today was he looks healthy. His swing looks like his swing. It's got its own idiosyncrasies, and it works for him. It may not be as consistent as he'd like, but it works for him. But there was a time early last year, where he just looked hurt, and swinging looked painful for him, and it felt like, if that makes sense, his arms were going to fall off when he was swinging the golf club. And to see him healthy again, and to see a run like this, made me so happy, because again, this is kind of like Eric Cole. He's not a very accurate driver of the ball, but when he gets it in the fairway and he's able to hit some greens, or when he gets it in play off the tee, I should say, and he's able to get it on the green, anything is liable to go in. And we're seeing a hot putter out of Taylor Montgomery so far this week.
Hey, Rick, imagine if he lives in your neck of the woods there, or old stomping ground in Vegas.
Yep.
On those greens there around that place, playing games against him when he's putting well. I mean, the guy must be guaranteed. Yeah. And to your point, Greg, he was battling injury. And then the tough thing to add to all of that, because everything you say is on point, whilst he was battling injury, form, and confidence, the putter let him down as well. So his trump card, his ace in the hole, started misfiring. And that's why we saw him miss so many cuts. But towards the end of the year, he found a little groove. You know, he had a top 10, I think it was, at Isco. And now it looks like he's kind of back in the saddle a little.
He's been playing some Corn Ferry Tour events.
He's been bouncing back and forth. He's been playing well on the Corn Ferry. Yeah, that's right. So this would be a well-deserved and much-needed ton of points if he can make it happen. 12 under par for Taylor Montgomery. He's tied with Eric Cole in second. They all chase down one man, and he flies the South African flag. His name is Garrick, Higgo. And Mark, this is now starting to become a trend because the Pro Tour Championship went very well for Garrick. He finished T7 there. Don't forget he won earlier this year as well. But maybe we're finding a little bit of something, a little consistency for Higgo.
He's like Samson. Just don't cut his hair and then he's going to be okay, right?
That is something else.
Yeah, it's a little too much if you ask me. But then again, look, I may be like an elder statesman to him and a bit of a big brother, but yeah, I'm like Garrick the Harris. Oof. Anyway, I mean, I have to commend him. He has worked so hard on his golf swing and his game of late. And now I know everyone hears that and they're like, blah, 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 blah. But he truly has. I mean, he's made some big changes to what he's doing, all in the effort to get a little more reliable. He clearly is. He's always been powerful, always been a great putter. And he's the kind of guy, when he's hot, he wins. And when he's not, he doesn't really win. And we've seen that out of him on the European Tour when he won a few events in a row and then disappeared for a bit. And then as a rookie on the PGA Tour, won there in South Carolina.
Congaree.
The Congaree, yeah. And I was on the call there for CBS. That was during COVID times, where, man, I saw places of the low country in South Carolina I didn't know existed where he hit the ball and would make some pars out of there. And so it was a big win, and I thought, man, lock him. But the one thing about Garrick to me is he's always been a little bit of a homebody. And he was at UNLV for a bit, and then, folks were calling me up there saying he wants to go home. Can you talk to him? But that's just who he is. And now he seems to have found peace, and he's found who he is. And Garrick, long hair guy, knows where his golf swing is, is in a good relationship. He's happy. And so because he's happy, I feel like his best stuff is coming out, and it's good to see him playing this solidly.
Looking just at the stat sheet, Greg, it looks like a very sound, complete game. He's picking up strokes in all four major categories. He's driving it accurately. He's driving it long, 6th and 28th, respectively, in this field. He certainly is. So I don't have anything. I don't have anything bad to say about a guy who starts 65, 66, which you can probably imagine.
No, what could you say? I mean, he's got all things. If you're 8th in putting and 3rd tee to green, it's a pretty good combination. It's like, he kind of looks like a creative player at a video game. Like, like if you were just going to build a crazy looking guy for a Tiger Woods video game, you give him the Malbon look as well. It's fitting, but to look like that, you got to be at peace with yourself, to Mark's point. And he clearly is, because he is playing free. He's swinging free, looking free. And when you hit the ball as long and straight as he is this week, you're just going to have a huge advantage. And he's leaving himself easy shots into the greens. It's stress-free. It's like, if I hit a great one here, we'll make a birdie. If I hit a good one here, I'll have a putt for birdie. And that's why you're seeing a guy, he's second in the field in greens of regulation this week. That's a pretty important statistic here. And if he keeps driving it this way, he's going to pile up greens, and it'll be hard to see him back up if he's driving it as long and straight as he is.
He's first in strokes gained hair, just because Tommy Fleetwood isn't in the field.
That's right. That's right. This is the week that he leads there. I also love, just because he has so much of it, the way his hat it doesn't even look like he's wearing it. It just it sits on top almost like a top hat. I love that. Well, Hey, if you're a Higgo backer, if you're a Higgo fan, our friends in the desert like his chances of winning this golf tournament. He's the favorite going into the weekend by a pretty good margin. He's 2-1. Next shortest odds, that's Taylor Montgomery at 5.5-1. He's one shot back. Eric Cole is 9-1, which is pretty surprising to see that number considering he's only one shot back. And then you really get into some longer numbers. Danny Walker and Tom Kim are 14-1. No love for Frankie Sappin, who went 60-74. Vegas lists him at 65-1. So Greg, when you look at this board, if you're a Higgo backer, you like the way you sit.
Yes, I really like where Garrick Higgo is. I trust his game more than Taylor Montgomery's. I think Eric Cole is a big time factor. If I were making the odds, and there's a reason I'm not, I'd probably have Montgomery and Cole flipped in my odds. But look, I ultimately think this tournament's pretty wide open. You start going down the board here. You got a guy like Luke List, who's won here before, who's at 8 under and putting the ball pretty well. He looks a whole lot better with his game. And certainly has the ability to win. You got a Luke Clanton at 7 under, who has a ton of firepower.
Please.
Clanton. Sorry, Clanton. Clanton. He's at 7 under, 6 back. I wouldn't count that out by any means. Even I think it's probably a little bit of a stretch to say that he could win, but I'm expecting a big round out of Max Homa tomorrow. The way that he's hitting the ball, great, and he is not making anything. He gets a couple of putts to fall. There's a 64 in the cards for Max Homa, and you go out there at starting at 5 under, go fire a 64 on Saturday morning, and all of a sudden you're at 13 under par. You're within striking distance heading into Sunday. So I think this one's pretty wide open.
Yeah, Greg makes a good point there, Rick, because if you look at this first page, there's not a whole lot of win equity over there. I've sort of got my eye on Tom Kim. Look, clearly Garrick, because he's a dear friend, but Tom Kim can win. And it looks like Tom Kim is playing with a lot of purpose, and he's got a bit of a point to prove because Tom Kim is the guy who plays in signature events and stuff. And languishing around 100th on the FedEx Cup points list is not where he is. He's like a Max Homa, really. So I feel like if you stay in front of Tom Kim, you're in good shape as far as I'm concerned.
Garrick Higgo doesn't have to look far to find those feelings that he had in winning fashion. He won in Punta Cana just 10 starts ago. And then you look at the chase pack, Taylor Montgomery, still 0 wins, right? He didn't win anything in that one fall that he went nuts, right? He's got 0.
No. 0.
Eric Cole, 0. Danny Walker, 0. Frankie Sappin, 0. Tom Kim, 3. We talked about that. Vince Whaley, 0, I think. So, yeah. That's a good board if you're Garrick Higgo. That's the board you want right there.
And a good board if you're Tom Kim.
And a good board if you're Tom Kim.
I guess you could argue a good board if you're anybody else who made the cut.
It's also a good board for basically anybody. Yeah, that's true. Okay, cool. Anything else Sanderson Farms wise before I give the schedule update moving forward?
Yeah, you're going to bring us a gift, please.
I'm going to bring you gifts. I got to figure out what those are, but I'm going to bring you gifts. So here's the deal. Armina and I are headed overseas, which means next week there will be no second cut. There will be no second cut on Sunday. So you will have to, in your own brains, recap the Sanderson Farms for yourself. And then we will get back going. It'll be the event that we come back for is the Utah Championship. However, that should not stop you from sending in your swing videos because that'll give us time to get all those up and post it on social or whatever else. So we're going to have a nice time. We're going to try to find some nice souvenirs for the boys and see what's going on over in Europe. But otherwise, that's the plan. A small little fall hiatus.
Nice.
You're going into enemy territory, Rick, soon after.
Don't worry, Greg. I saw him in merchandising at the Ryder Cup buying all royal blue looking stuff. I saw him. Royal blue.
I'm going to fit right in over there in my blue and gold, my blue and yellow and I'll be flying the flag. I'll fit right in. Don't worry about
You're
it.
rooting for them. You're betting on them, and now you're going to go support their economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I do want to say this for the First Cut fans, because yours truly is on the couch tomorrow watching football and golf on Sunday. So if you want to interact with Greg and I'll certainly be tweeting, as they say in the classics. So I want to hear from you guys.
Let's see how fired up you can make Mark via social media.
Friday.
That is what I would like to see. Well, the good news is you can get him at Mark_Immelman. You can find Greg at The Real GFD. Hey, I'm available to tweet. I'll be sitting on a plane for 11 hours. I'll be available to tweet at Rick Run Good. Big thanks to producer Mina, who does all the hard work behind the scenes. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.